What's going on, guys? It's Yazi from Sahagi. Today we're installing these halo fog lights on my 2001 Celica GTS. Let's get to it. So funny enough, this is actually the second time that we're filming this intro. Here's what happened the first time. I don't think that's plastic, I think that's glass. Yeah, really fun. So now that we know what to do with the first one, I can show y'all how to do it with the second one. So first off, let's pop the hood. All right, now I have a quick release, so there's no screws at the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and take off the 4 screws on top. Now, funny enough, there's supposed to be 4 screws. Keyword is there's supposed to be 4 screws. Supposed to be. All right, now we're gonna undo the quick releases. And now we can remove the bumper. We wanna be careful here because the side markers are still connected to the main body. So when we remove it, we just gotta fiddle around with it, make sure that we're not tugging on the wires, and then we can unplug them. All right, y'all, so as you can see, one of them is already missing. That's because we did it already. Now I'm gonna show you how to do the second one. All right, so there was already a cable that was connected to the fog light, so I went ahead and disconnected that. Now what we're gonna do is there should be 3 screws, one Phillips right here, another Phillips on the other side, and one Phillips right here. We're gonna go ahead and get the bottom one first. Now it's already off, it's just that we haven't removed these ones yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Now we can kind of push back, and this will release itself. With this flathead, you're gonna pry it against this metal bar and essentially pull out the fog light, just like that. And this spring is gonna come out. Keep the spring, we're gonna need it. As you can see, it's still connected right there. So you wanna go ahead, press down on the top, press down on the bottom, and voila, it's out. So I'm gonna show you guys what to do with this thing now. All right, so there's gonna be these metal tabs right here, and which you're just going to pop off. So from here, we're gonna open this up just like we're going to change out the fog lights, which in a way we are. So as you see, you can see 2 wires right here. Go ahead and cut right before this resistor. I'm pretty sure that's a resistor. Just like that. And then we can pull off this little sheath, and this is what's going to connect to our main terminals. As for this stuff right here, we can go ahead and remove that since we're not gonna need it anymore. All right, now for the slightly scary part. So there's actually a seal right here in which it's connecting this glass onto this plastic. Now I'm pretty sure there's a whole thing where you pop it in the oven and then you can melt it. However, I'm a barbarian, so I'm gonna go ahead and break the glass. Be really careful if you're doing this. I am not liable. Sahagi isn't liable. And most importantly, don't be stupid. Don't be like me, Joe. Make sure you're wearing gloves for this, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place it in here first and essentially just like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab these pliers and we're basically just gonna grab whatever pieces of glass and we're essentially just gonna try to break them over. All right, so now we have this fog light with some dangerously sharp corners on it. What we're gonna do now, so I'm not too worried about the looks because this is basically going to be covered by the bumper. This is mainly just for the sake of not having exposed glass on my car. Anyways, take this tape and we're just going to very carefully place it over the glass, just like that. And this is basically a rubberized tape, but essentially we're just covering up the exposed glass and just helping it keep it kind of contained in a way. Now there's a multitude of ways to do this. We could have used caulking, could have used epoxy, but this is just the quick and simple way. And flex tape holds up really, really well to the weather. All right, here are the main leads for the fog light. Now this is going to be shoved in here through the back, and this is going to sit just like so. Now, obviously it is not by far a perfect fit, but as you can see, when it sits on that lip like that, it is pretty much in line with how the stock one was. So basically how we're gonna attach this is either JB Weld, which is every racer's dream. Currently don't have any epoxy, but we're gonna pull this through here And what we're actually going to do is that cap from earlier, we're actually going to strip the leads and connect it together. Now, doing it this way means that we have basically an OEM connection, which is, you know, the dream. That's exactly what we want. You always want an OEM connection, or at least it's best to have an OEM connection, because these guys know exactly what they're talking about, you know? They know exactly what they're doing. So why not just go through them? And let's just go ahead and strip these wires. Stripped. Let's just go ahead and get to soldering. Let me get something clear here, y'all. I am by no means an electrician. These are some of the worst solder joints I've ever made in my life, but they hold. And once this is all glued in place, we can actually use the OEM thing. Look at that, and it plugs in just fine. Source, trust me on it. All right, what's going on, guys? We're back from the gym. We got our epoxy. Epoxy is really easy to use. It's just a little messy. I suggest if you're not too comfortable mixing the stuff up, you can go ahead and wear some gloves. I'm actually going to do that. Here's what we're gonna do. So how this thing fits, and it might be different for everyone else, but how this fits is, if you wanna check out right there, there's this little lip right here. And essentially, this thing doesn't go past that lip. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna lean it against that lip, just like this. As you can see, it's gonna be straight like this. And we're gonna hold it right there. So at first, we're just gonna put a little bit of epoxy right here first. So we're gonna mix up a tiny little bit. We're gonna make sure it stays there. And after it's adhered on there, we're gonna go ahead and fill the rest of it up with epoxy. So let's do that. So a little trick when you're mixing your epoxy, I'm only gonna do a tiny little bit here. There we go. When you're done, you wanna pull back slightly on the plunger. And if your epoxy has this little cap, put that on. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna mix. Go ahead, we're gonna place a little bit right on this lip here, and I'm just making sure that it's set on there, just like that. Just like that, right on the lip, so it's kind of like angled in like that, so it's filled up. Now we're gonna take this, I'm just gonna press it against it, just like that. As you see, when I lift off like that, you can see where the epoxy is. So lift it, and we're just gonna hold it like this for 1 minute until it sets. Now it's starting to grip already. As you can see, the epoxy here is starting to goop up. I'm gonna use some of this goop and I'm just gonna spread it around. And I really wanna get it into that section over there because that's where you want the epoxy to hold. Now once you're at this stage, everything's pretty much almost hardened up. Now you just wanna look around and just make sure that it's gonna be, you know, flat when you install it on the car. And as you see, it's flat. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's starting to set already. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just set it like this and just let it cure. I believe it says right here, this cures in 1 hour. All right, y'all, so the 1 minute epoxy is finished up and it's not going anywhere. All right, so as you can see, we have the OEM attachment on here. So all we're going to do is I'm gonna take this wire and I'm gonna go ahead and just shove it back in. And then we can go ahead and we can close it up, just like that. All right, and now I'll show you how to install it on the car. All right, y'all, it's a little later, so the lighting isn't the best, but I'm gonna go ahead and try to explain it. All we're doing is we're installing this the same way that we took it off. So as you can see, we have these 2 attachment points, which go on these 2, and then we have this back one right here. And make sure you put that spring back too. All right, then we're gonna go ahead and insert the bolt on this bottom right side and put the spring back too. Once we can kind of line it up and get it hand twisted, just so we don't cross thread it, you can go ahead and use your drill. As you can see, as I tighten it up, the fog light will move up. So go ahead and just position it so it's straight. All right, and over here you have the OEM attachment. It's gonna go straight back. And then we're just gonna plug it in. Just like that. The halo is just going to slide over, and there's a hole right here where we're just gonna tap into the main lines. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna zip tie it to the factory fog light plug. All right, so up here, here's the wire. I definitely made this too long. So we're just going to go ahead and you know, coil it up, zip tie it, and all I'm doing is I'm tapping these These are the running lights, so I'm just gonna tap into the running lights of the car. All right, and that's pretty much it for the install. Now that the fog lights and the sequentials are installed, let's give them a quick little test. Earlier today, I also installed these sequential lights I got off of eBay, so they're pretty cool. But let me turn on the running lights. So here are the running lights. I have the halos and the projectors on my headlights, and then the halos on the fogs. All right, let's get the bumper back on. All right guys, that pretty much wraps up this video. Installing these halo fog lights, destroying the OEM ones, and putting on these sequentials was a pretty cool job. I think it makes the car look super cool. I think Aki thinks so too. I don't think he cares very much. Anyways, here's some B-roll footage. I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.